Hello everyone, thank you for joining me again and welcome to any new viewers. This is To The Point English with Ben. I'm Ben and I have a very useful video for you today. In fact, I think it's the very video that you've been waiting for. Now, I'm not saying it's the very best video that you've ever seen, but I think it will go to the very top of your list of favourite videos. Yes, that's right, we're talking about the conditionals. No, I'm joking. We're talking about the very useful word very. Now, of course, you are familiar with the word very, you use it a lot, and you probably usually use it as an adverb, an intensifier, which means to a great degree or extremely. And it's a very low-level word, it's an A1 word. We say, for example, I'm very happy, I'm very sorry, he speaks very slowly, she is very well, for example. You know that, it's very basic. But in this video, we're going to look at some more advanced uses of very, which I think you may find a little bit surprising and, as I said, very useful. So apart from using very as an adverb, which means to a great degree, we can also use it as an adverb before superlative adjectives to really emphasize the adjective. And I used that in my introduction when I said the very best video. So you can see we're using the superlative adjective best, which is the superlative of good, of course, and we're using very before that to make it more emphatic. I mean, best is superlative, so you can't get any higher than the best, right? Only better than the best. But by saying it's the very best, you're adding even more emphasis. And as I said, we can use it with other superlative adjectives. For example, I have the very latest iPhone. I have the very latest iPhone. Now, of course, I could just say I have the latest iPhone, and the meaning is basically the same. There's no difference between the two sentences, but by saying I have the very latest iPhone, I'm really adding emphasis to the latest. So I want to express to the listener, the person I'm speaking to, that it's really the latest. There is nothing after this iPhone. Another example, this is the very worst day of my life. This is the very worst day of my life. So again, worst is the superlative adjective for bad, and you can't get any worse than worst, right? So it's the worst day of my life, that's superlative, but the very worst day of my life, I just want to add that emphasis to it. We can also say we send our very best wishes, for example. So when it's maybe somebody's birthday or some special occasion and you send a card, you could say we send our best wishes or we send our very best wishes. And it can also be used with first and last. But with first, for example, I still remember my very first YouTube video. It was awful. So again, there's nothing before the first, there's only one first, but I remember my very first video, so it was before any others. I'm really emphasizing. Now, another usage of very is as an adjective. And according to the Cambridge Dictionary, in this usage, it's C2 level vocabulary. So we've gone from using very as an adverb, as A1 vocabulary. Now as an adjective, it's C2 level vocabulary, according to Cambridge, of course. And again, we use it to add emphasis, in this case to a noun. And really it means exact or particular. So again, you're going to need some examples to really understand how we use it in this way. You are the very person I was looking for. You are the very person I was looking for. So I'm adding emphasis to that you are the person I was looking for, but you are the very person, the exact person I was looking for. Not just somebody similar to you, but it was you. You are the very person. In my introduction, I used a similar example when I said, this is the very video that you've been waiting for. The very video, the exact video, not just a similar video. Another example, this is the very pen that David Beckham used to write his autobiography. So what I'm saying here is that it's not a similar pen, it's not the same brand or it's not the same make, it's this very pen, this exact pen that I'm holding in my hand. So it's really adding emphasis to the noun in this case. It's also very common to use very in this way when we use the nouns thought or idea. So an example sentence, the very thought of food right now makes me feel sick. So the very thought of food, the very thought, so thought as a noun in this case. So again, I'm really emphasizing the thought. I could just say the thought of food right now makes me feel sick, but It's much more emphatic with very. Another two words which are very common with this usage of very are next and same. So an example, Amazon promised to deliver the package the very next day. So yes, it's the next day, but it's the very next day, not like 2 days later. It's literally the next day. Or you could say the very same day. So Amazon promised to deliver the package the very same day, the day that the order was placed in this case. And another advanced use of very, also as an adjective, is again to add emphasis, which is very common. That's why we use very, really. But it's to emphasize an extreme point or position. Again, you'll understand this when I give some examples. The sugar is at the very back of the pantry. So the sugar is at the very back of the pantry. A pantry, by the way, is like a cupboard where you keep food. You can store food that doesn't need to be frozen or refrigerated. So you have a big cupboard, a pantry with lots of food in it, and the sugar is at the very back. So there may be lots of things at the back of the pantry in that area, but at the very back, so the extreme point, you can't go any further back, at the very back of the pantry is the sugar. So that's where you'll find the sugar. That's the point, the extreme point at the very back. Another example, at the very top of the picture, we can see a bird soaring above the trees. So in this case, we're describing a picture, but at the very top of the picture. So maybe there are many things at the top of the picture. Maybe there are clouds and mountains, I don't know. But at the very top, so at the extreme point, we can see a bird soaring above the tree. So really emphasizing that it's not just generally at the top, it's at the very top. And one more example, the secret is revealed at the very end of the book. So the secret is revealed at the very end of the book. So the end of the book may be 20 pages, right? You could consider the last 20 pages of a big book the end of the book. But the secret is revealed at the very end. So the extreme point, it's almost the last sentence perhaps, it's revealed at the very end of the book. So you can see how we use very in this way to really emphasize the extreme point. So we can use it with other similar words such as top, bottom, front, back, beginning, end. Those are some of the really typical words that we use very with in this context because, as I said, these are points. So if you want to be very specific and very precise and emphasize the extreme point, you can use very in this context. Okay, did you know all of those different meanings of very? If you did, well done, but it's always useful to revise. If you didn't, now you do, so practice, write your own examples as always. And if you want to learn some more vocabulary, check out this video I made on the different meanings and uses of the word fancy. And I'll see you very soon for another video.